This is a story about a young man named Shinyu Jun who liked to play computer games in his spare time. Recently, he especially liked a game with the cool name War of the Gods. The young man assumed that everyone had played RPG games at least once. Everyone at least once created their first character and went to the plaza. But, compared to other characters, his character really stood out. Over the past couple years though, he had blown a lot of money, which was why his friends had even started calling him names. They were telling Jun that he was pathetic, that he should stop until he regretted it, and that he should study, because he was wasting his days for nothing. For Shinyu, it was a very natural reaction, and the young man understood. But, Jun couldn't help himself. His high-level fighter who invested a lot of money is his free-to-play gamer hero. Every time, playing as him evokes a bunch of positive emotions. When Shinyu Jun sees him, he doesn't regret a single penny spent. But still, there is one problem for the young man. This game has a disastrously low number of users. There are literally 6 people. Even when the server opened, the players were already few, and every day became only less. In any case, someone waved at our young man, and Shinyu Jun immediately ran up to the guys who were standing in the center of the city. He apologized to the guys since he had just woken up, and yesterday he had somehow stayed up late. A girl with rabbit ears and the nickname Hot Pink Rabbit asked Jun if he had eaten. But he replied that he would order delivery, so no. Jun wondered what on earth they were doing here. The bunny girl explained to him that they were just socializing. The guy in the gas mask with the nickname Fancy Joseph greeted Jun, saying that he had come just in time. Although he thought Jun wouldn't play this game anymore. This happened every time. Shinyu always said he wouldn't play, and ended up entering the game every time. Shinyu Jun didn't understand the accusations towards him as Joseph also said that he wouldn't come back to the game. Joseph laughed and said that he was sad to quit the game since he had put a lot of time into it. The old man with the nickname First Josian Sword also suggested that Jun had just woken up, judging by the time. And the last person to greet the young man was a player with the nickname Only I Don't Have a Cat. Speaking of which, this cat was the closest friend among the players. Jun recalled the times when during raids, they always tried to stick together. Jun thought that this cat had great control. The girl inquired as to what they were going to do. The mod suggested they go on some raid if they were bored. The girl sighed disappointedly as all these small quests are the reason why players leave. The difficulty is just too high. But Jun affirmatively said that the game originally didn't have very many users. Yozek called this game very bad from the beginning, and the old man said that there were very strange controls. In that case, the girl didn't understand what they were doing here then? But Jun explained that the harder the game is, the more enjoyable it is to get achievements. And the old man confirmed the words, because if the game was easy, he would have finished this game long ago. Meanwhile, the old man asked Jun about the rumors about his money, that he had made a fortune in bitcoins. And Shinyu confirmed the hunch. The girl asked the old man, didn't he know about it? Everyone already knows about it. The old man replied that he had heard but didn't think it was true. But still he didn't think that someone would spend so much money on such a lame game. But the girl told the old man not to even think of defeating Jun, calling Jun a cheater since he calls himself a free-to-play player. But Shinyu asked him not to call him that since that's what it is at heart. But the girl thought the guy was out of his mind. Soon Jun asked Bunny if she was going to move to Bupyeong since he remembered her talking about it. But before Bunny could answer, the system made an announcement. Jun was surprised since online announcement is a rarity. The system informed the dear users about the small announcement. The War of Gods game had been nominated for the competition and it was all thanks to them. This news came as a bit of a shock to the users. And Joseph couldn't believe that it was really a system administrator. But the system reported that it was an administrator. In that case, the girl asked if they were going to shut down the server? But the administrator said that she was sorry, but very soon the server will close. And this news led the players in even greater shock. They could not believe what was happening, saying that this could not happen. The old man was shocked, because it can't end like this. He asked what about Jun? After all, he had invested a lot of money here, enough to buy an apartment in Seoul. The system informed them not to worry about that. Those who made purchases would be rewarded. But for Jun, this was not good news. The system also notified everyone that all users would receive some compensation. But the old man didn't understand what kind of compensation we were talking about if the game was being shut down. But the system had just started the countdown for the server to close once and for all. Bunny began to resent the fact that the game already sucked, but they were shutting it down, thinking it was just a dream. She didn't understand what they were going to do now that the server was about to be shut down. Cute Kitty thought it was some kind of joke. But it seems like June has already accepted it, since in any game, sometimes servers get shut down. Everything is coming to an end, so there's no point in getting upset. Even if the game he had dedicated his best years to was closing down, at this moment, June was remembering all those moments spent with his friends in this game that he had lived for. And when the server was about to close after 10 seconds, Shinyu wanted to express his disagreement. But after he opened his eyes, he saw that everything was already gone. Even though the time was up, the game screen didn't go out. In that case, June assumed that the server had not been shut down. Soon, a girl appeared in front of his eyes, but he didn't realize who it was. Above her head was the nickname Nell as well as a small crown. June felt that he was familiar with the name, so he assumed it was the administrator. He asked the girl if she was an administrator, not understanding what was going on here. Nell lowered her head and greeted June, saying that she personally wanted to express her gratitude, so she had come. But the young man didn't understand. What kind of gratitude were we talking about? Nell explained that June had generously supported the world she had created. The young man wondered what kind of support she was talking about, assuming she was talking about donations. And the girl confirmed the guess. But June expressed his opinion that it wasn't charity. But Nell thanked the young man for it anyway, as it was enough to enter the competition. June wondered, what kind of contest were we talking about? After all, he couldn't find anything like that on the internet. But the girl only said that she couldn't reveal the details. However, given the help provided, she would give the young man a special privilege. But June didn't understand. What was the point of it if the server was being shut down? But still, he inquired about the privilege in question? But the girl still couldn't say anything, only expressed her hope that June would enjoy the reward. Before she left, she told June to take everything for granted and not to doubt anything. After all, it would be better for survival. After that, the screen turned off, much to the young man's incomprehension. Looking at the monitor, he did not understand anything. After all, he had just looked at this girl. And why did the monitor went out? Soon the system appeared in front of him, telling him to prepare for the inevitable shock, because now the changes will begin. Then June realized that it wasn't a monitor, but a system window, which made him feel scared, because he didn't know what was happening. After a moment, he began to feel dizzy and fell to the floor. After falling to the ground, the system reported that the young man had received a special privilege from an unknown person. And Shinyu June himself received his character's inventory from the game. Synchronization soon began, with 5 years, 8 days, 5 hours, and 32 minutes to go. The system notified that the game War of the Gods was ready to launch. Otrin Palace, the place where the lower gods reside. In this place there is also a dimension known as the Divine Realm. A group of people lined up near the booth where the results were announced. In this commotion, people didn't understand who Nell was, or how she could have won first place in the competition. Someone had heard that many high-ranked gods had participated, but it was strange to see a god that no one had heard of. There were also gods who were jealous of the first place that Nell got. After all, taking first place would give you a lot of perks. It was the goddess Nell. She was rank 7. Nell thought about the player she remembered under the name Shinyu June, and it was all thanks to him. Standing at the system screen, Nell realized that because of the hastily prepared game for the competition failed due to poor management. Particularly because of the difficulty level, many gods usually failed to gain divine power. Due to not finding buyers for premium items, gods had no strength. And Nell didn't have divine power either. And at that moment, she was still at rank 10. She was crying and was completely desperate since she couldn't even participate in the competition. But suddenly, Shinyu June appeared and bought up literally everything in the premium store. The goddess didn't realize what it was. But just then, there was a glimmer of hope. June was buying up everything, from limited armor that gives +9 to strength, to limited horns, to a dragon. That was Shinyu June, under the nickname Free-to-Player. Everything changed when he bought back over 1,000 limited edition items. The goddess couldn't believe what she saw, as she didn't think there were such users in the game. Because of this, Nell was able to participate in the competition and win first place. Looking at the young man, Nell realized that June had come all this way alone. In addition, she recognized that he was Korean, male, and also lonely. June was an orphan and not from a wealthy family. He had recently become rich because the virtual currency he had bought long ago had grown significantly. The goddess leaned back on her throne and assumed that the two of them would stay in the plus side. Besides, she never thought that she would win in such a contest, so she felt that she needed to repay this guy somehow. From then on, the goddess decided to make Shinyu June her lucky talisman, and he would be able to use the special rewards she would give him. Especially now, when the earth is going through great upheavals. After all, right now, he would become the strongest person. Soon seeing the sunlight, June finally woke up and sat on the ground holding his head. Looking around, he didn't realize where he was. Seeing the forest in front of him, the young man was surprised. After all, he had recently been in his room. In addition, there were some ruins near him. But June soon realized that it was a forest of learning, which the system also confirmed, indicating that it was indeed a forest of learning. The young man was startled by the status window that abruptly popped up in front of him. The system reported that the synchronization had been completed and the inventory had been moved. He had also received a second privilege, and his characteristics had been successfully transferred. Taking a closer look, June saw in the status window the same status window from the game. It was the last thing he saw before he lost consciousness. Pinching his cheek, June made sure it wasn't a dream, as he was in pain. Soon the young man noticed that the ability to perceive everything calmly was available to him. And this was all thanks to his equanimity. Taken aback, June couldn't believe that the game had become reality, and this seemed to be the very privilege that the administrator was talking about. Shinyu Jun saw the basic settings in front of him. He was currently at the first level, possessing S-rank cold-bloodedness. There were no skills, but had the title of Legendary Item Collector, causing the effects of items to be increased by 15% ability. His strength was 15, dexterity 5, stamina 5, mana 5, but there were 0 points. The young man knew about the coolness ability, but he didn't understand what a legendary title was. In addition, he was surprised that such a title appeared at level 1. He soon realized that it was his character's title from the game, but it was a title that was given out when you obtained all the items. In that case, June decided to open his inventory and saw in front of him all the items he had ever bought or found. The young man assumed that he must have all items and all weapons since he had expanded his inventory to the max through donations. In that case, looking at the sword, he realized that it had a limitation in levels just like the game, which was of course obvious. The young man wondered if he was really in the game, or had the game become reality. His level, skills, and titles were reset, only his inventory remained the same. It was then that June remembered the words of the goddess. She told him not to doubt as she would help him survive. But still the young man didn't understand what was going on here. Suddenly, the system asked Shinyu to choose a difficulty level for training. One could choose from beginner, intermediate, advanced, master, and the most difficult, hell. June remembered that the game also had training with a choice of difficulty level. June recalled how during the game, managed to encounter a number of difficulties with different accounts, sometimes even the controls were limited due to the difficulty level. In particular, the most difficult section is the Wolf's Lair dungeon. He had to put a lot of effort into tackling it. And it was pretty damn difficult. Thinking back on it, June was shaking just thinking about it, because even his fellow SEAL's skills didn't help much. But considering the fact that the rewards change depending on the difficulty level, the reward for a hell of a level exceeds all expectations. The only problem is that you can only complete the forest training once from an account. Zhong felt uneasy as he realized that things were made more complicated by the fact that all of this had become a reality. Opening his inventory, June thought about the fact that the risks were great because life was not so easy to get back now. Therefore, he needed to organize his inventory first. He needed to find something that could be used right away. Soon the young man noticed something interesting. He was at level 1, but he could use items. He noticed a beginner's superset. It contained a rookie super sword, armor, gloves, and rookie super boots. If you put all of these on yourself, the effect would be awesome. June was sure that the rookie superset was just right for the hellish difficulty. Because of the restriction, he wouldn't be able to use it anymore, even after passing the training. Therefore, he decided to use the set. After going through the game on this account, June was determined that he could handle the difficulty level with this beginner's superset. The system notified that the hell level training was starting and offered to choose weapons. Among the weapons, there was a sword, axe, spear, bow, and mace. But June definitely remembered that there was also a section to choose weapons for beginners. In that case, he assumed that he didn't need these weapons, as he didn't want to store any trash, or he wouldn't be able to clean it up later. June also noticed that because he didn't choose a weapon, the reward for passing the hellish training was increased. But the young man didn't even know about it, but he thought that he was very lucky, because it was only to his advantage. And soon, the training began. Oh, I really enjoyed this manhwa. If you want to see part 2 of the story, please post a secret word in the comments. Bitcoin. That way I'll know you watched this video to the end. And also don't forget to like the video. From now on I'll be looking for weird but very interesting titles for you to enjoy. That's all for now, see you later and bye bye.